is the person is gonna like kind of crowd you. Sometimes you'll be here and the person's trying to like grab your head, right? So wherever they are, you're gonna come underneath. Sometimes at Nogi Worlds, the guy, he took me down and then he kind of just sat in here, right? And so in that case, put your head the other side, right? So usually you want to go to this inside hook here. And you see, you just do kind of this Gable grip and you just pull this down. So this makes this really hard for your training partner to get out. And it's actually better if they try to like grab your head. So if someone is coming up and trying to grab your head, this is actually better. So sometimes you'll have somebody in your guard, they don't really want to do anything, or they're just trying to stall out a little bit. So if you can make sort of this frame, and then you dig this in, you see how I go, don't try to get it, well sometimes you can get in here, but I like to get right at the elbow. I'll show you why in a second. And then you're gonna do like a little palm to palm or Gable grip, whatever you want to call it. And then the key thing is that you want to pull this down to your chest, right? So that it becomes difficult. So now, you see how Kevin cheated? He brought his elbow back in, or back straight. So yeah, you kind of want to keep this elbow bent so that it becomes hard. Because if they straighten the arm, now they start bringing that elbow in, right? So we want to kind of elevate your elbow a little bit. And that makes it a little bit harder for them to straighten, but I'll show you what to do if they straighten as well. You just break it, all right? So we're here, now we're starting off in the butterfly guard, right? So what I like to do from here is, I guess it depends on where my training partner is leaning or trying to get out, or whether they're trying to move or stay or whatever. So when we're here like this, I always kind of feel where their weight is. Now, Kevin right now, he's going towards a little bit to my left. Sometimes they'll try to straighten, go like kind of get their, they'll try to come. So they'll either go try to posture up, right, foolishly, they'll hurt their shoulder, right? Or they just try to move towards me, right? Yeah, and they try to like, move their hips over, right? Trying to clear the butterfly.
Do you get jumpers ever?
Oh yeah, I like jumpers because then you just take it straight over. And then you get on top, so it's like a free sweep.
You gotta be ready for it though.
I guess the easiest way, like, so if you're just starting off and you're training with other people who are more or less just starting off, and you get in here, a lot of times they're gonna try to hold your head, which is the easiest way to sweep here. So from here, all you're gonna do is, and now this is like super important, this elbow, is I wanna turn and make him look that way, right? And then you're just gonna ride him over. Boom, here, all the way up. And now and I like to not go into the mount, I like to go to knee on belly. And then if you still have this here, you can start coming into the Kimura kind of thing, short Kimuras. Sometimes if you're in closed guard, I mean, it's just as easy to do this. You can be here, the person's really trying to drive forward, right? That's the easiest. So when you're here like this, especially if he steps up on his right foot. So if he steps up, when we're here, you're gonna circle that in, and then you take him over. Now, what I was saying is on the floor.
I get it.
Is this one here, where I come in, right? And I'm gonna kind of do like a shoulder drive into his arm and then lift this up. It's hard to show. Usually they're either trying to push into you or they're like drive in, like yes. So here, I'm gonna I'll turn my hips a little bit. Kevin's being very obliging, right? And so it really makes it easier. The more they drive into you, the more it becomes simple. And then you see, like you'll be here, you can take the mount, but I like to windshield wiper my leg all the way over to knee on belly. And then you have this arm. And you can do different things with this. I like to just pull it right in, right? You just keep that Gable grip and then just pull the elbow and then flare your elbow. And that gets onto the shoulder. Yeah, you have to, I'm really kind of, not going that hard, because you're not going that hard, but the more kind of violently and forcefully they drive into you, this is super important to keep your frame. And I'm also pulling down, so it's like this, like a torquing motion or circular motion. So if you're just here, right, even if I make the hook, right, so he steps up, and I make that hook is worthless if I don't use my arms. So if I just keep my arms pinched and I try to hook him, it's not gonna work, right? He can sit here all day. In fact, if I'm lazy with this, he'll step over it. And then I'll be in bad shape. Right? So when we're here like this, I'm pulling and I'm turning, with that elbow. So it's real important that you get this under his jaw, right here, boom, right? And so from here you see, I'm already moving his head, now the rest of his body. And then you'll see, I windshield wiper my leg over, and we're right here.
That's where the head goes, the body follows thing. One thing I might add, this is something that I do as the person on top. Because a lot of people are taught, right, like don't attack from close guard, right? So people take for granted the actual danger here. So you need to be very vigilant with this frame here, because if you let someone come in here, even if you're in their close guard, if they're strong or assertive, like I'm gonna get down here and I'm gonna start choking you, even though I'm in your close guard, just because you didn't react fast enough. So don't be complacent, actively be maintaining that frame. And
yeah, this has to be, you know, you have to be, right here. I don't, you're not gonna get it across, you know, but yeah, like you said, if I'm just lazy with this, yeah, you're gonna push it across.
yeah.
Right, and we don't want that. So if you push it across, you're gonna have to start swimming your arms back in, and then he's out, and he's gonna be wise to what you're doing, right? So, yeah. So that's just there. But even here, when guys, I've had a lot of guys, they just try to come in real tight. But you see what happens. The first thing is that no, when you grab my head, right? That frame is the first thing. He's giving me the underhook, right? The underhook is the easiest thing in the world to get. So this is the first thing, and you have to keep your elbow, like if you see my elbow is down in the beginning, because like Kevin's saying, if I'm just lazy with this, he'll push it across, and I won't get it back, right? If people do that, right, if they push across, you just gotta circle. But then he's gonna be, then he's framing, right? So I don't mind people, but you have to have this frame. I don't mind people grabbing my head. I'm not gonna let them do it, but I'm gonna keep this here, like that, right? Now, am I gonna go for this sweep? Right now, he's not really pushing into me. So if I go for the sweep now, it's not gonna work. Yeah, he's just gonna push my leg down. Let's go this way. All right, so if we're here and he's kind of neutral in his position, right? And he's not pushing forward, he's not coming this way, right? It's foolish for me to start trying to push him like this, because he's not moving with me. So he's not going to the direction of the sweep. So unless I get a really deep bite to make his head go that way, which, you know, maybe you can force them to come that way, but I think this is much better when the person drives in. Yes, and then you see how I duck my leg, and I'm making this hook over here, my right leg, and my hook here, all the way over. So Kevin now, he decides he is gonna stay at home, right? And he's not coming this way, he's not driving into me. In that case, that's where I go the other direction. So when we're here and I feel like Kevin's not coming to me, I'm gonna start turning here. And you'll see it breaks, I mean, eventually it'll break that. And then I come across, like over it into this, and I try to get my hips back, right? So I'm posting on his hips. And I have the reverse arm lock, okay? And then for this one, I'm just gonna go all the way down really hard. There's different ways. The problem, there's different kind of setups on this one. Like sometimes, like if you get into this position, you can start pulling the elbow, turning the hips, and you see my foot goes into his hip, right? And I go, but you can hold, right? So sometimes I like, if this arm is here and I have the space, I'll grab underneath. You can see my fingers here, and I'll pull it, wrap it, and then go, right? So you guys see, you can do this one, right, as another palm to palm, which is what I'll do when I don't have the space, right? So if Kevin's here and I have to break, right? If I'm here, I'm not gonna have the space to go up to here. So that way I just go straight onto it. Extend my hips until I can get to this position. And you see I'm driving with my legs, right? Now, sometimes what happens is he comes back into me, right? He drives back in. You turn your hips, and you go the other way. So these go hand in hand, and you have to be prepared to go both ways. So if he's here like this and he's chilling, right, I'm gonna turn. So I'm not, in this case, what I'm trying to do is really turn my hips, right? So stay tight, he's here, I'm gonna turn. See how I'm like almost shrimping out to make this bottom hook into his hips first. So this keeps
so you're like
it's like a frame. Yeah. So this is a frame, because if I don't have that frame, you just drive back in, or you step over. So I really want to be, here, right? I put that foot in the hip, right? And then I'm going to turn. I put the other foot in the other hip. I still have all this framing, and now you can really come over here. And we're in this position here, ready to. Now, if you want, right? So sometimes this will get out, right? You'll turn it, right? And drop your elbow, right? You drop your elbow, and you can come up and take the back. So, or you can go over on the arm lock.
Was this supposed to go like this?
Yeah, you turn your elbow in. That's usually how they get out.
Try that again.
Let's turn this way. So if we're here, up, shrimp out, he goes. Yeah. So from here, it depends on what you want, right? Like you can come up and get onto the back, but to the back. I mean, I've seen some people, they'll be here, they go, and maybe they miss it, right? They drive, and then they come over. This is one of yours that would be favorite. You like that one, and then you just go back onto the arm lock.
I like hooking the foot behind the neck.
Oh, this one?
Yeah.
Here? Yes, and then you're going to roll through on it. And then break it before you get to the bottom. You just break it.
We're thinking about...
So here now, I'm not going to, yeah. So if I come that way, or if I say hi, you're going to take me over. Oh, I don't know what that is. Oh, bam. Okay. Choose your own adventure. This is it. Good stuff. And then, so if we're here, so you can have, like, I don't want to go that way. A lot of times you step up on this foot. Oh, there you go. Whoa, whoa, that's bad. Whoa, guillotines. Yeah. All sorts of nastiness in here. It depends on what what you like to do. I mean, there's. They break my grip. I like how you sit up there. So the guy here is probably gonna, but look, arm drag.
I wasn't expecting to lose the elbow.
So, yeah.
So, I need to get my frames so that I can sit up. And then if I lose...
You have triangles here, if you look, I mean, you can triangle me here. Here. You know, it's really, because you have my arm. So it's either you have the arm and you can work, because if you push me this way with this, like if you push, I have to post or else I'm going to go over. Mm-hmm. So once I post, you have all sorts of stuff that you can do.
We're coming here.
Yeah, that's all bad.
Like really pull this in and stretch it out and like hang my body off of it. So that they're always under this tension. And then even as I scoot my hips out, I'm just hanging.
Yeah.
And you can put in a tremendous amount of force.
I would stress is go back a little bit. Don't be afraid to switch sides, right? So sometimes you'll be in here, right? And you'll go, or you know what a lot of times what I do is I'll do this. They'll be here. This is how I set this up. Another way I set up when they don't grab the head is I like to come here, come up. If they put this hand on the floor, I'll come underneath it and grab it. So, you know, sometimes you could be here, I go like that, and if they put their hand on that floor, here I come underneath. And if you guys see, you want to be careful, turn this way, that you want to like glide right under here. So Kevin has a nice little notch right there, right? You can't, it's kind of like right here. If you can feel there's this little bony part of your arm right here at your elbow. So if you can connect, I try to connect the, like this part of my wrist right underneath here. And you see my elbow is attached. So I'm not doing this. I'm not like fishing for this because you can just circle out, right? So what you want is, you see my elbow, and then when I go in, it's like the same thing as when we do the scoop grip for leg locks, right? I'm here, and I'm not pulling with my arm. Here, I'm pushing off my leg and my hips, so here. And so if he keeps it straight, that's fine. If he does this, it's the same thing we were doing before, is you either have this one where this is like a little short Kimura, or you can go right to the real Kimura if you feel comfortable. Sometimes it's a little slippery, right? So, you know, I catch this a lot when I'm going from side to side. So I'll be here, right? I step in, yeah, right there. And I have my foot on the other side of the hip already. Here, bring that knee up. So you see it now, I'm feeling he can't get his arm back. I have a couple different points of contact. Here, if you want, you can start doing that. Yeah, that's okay, right? If you do this, you can start coming in to the legs if you want, right? So that's not a bad way to start coming on onto the legs, right? So if we're here, they take them this way. They make them roll that way.
You make me.
Yeah, so they come out and they drive so hard. You were doing this to me right now, just before, right? You come here, the person drives up, and comes up. So if you get the person, it's really what requires a person to be moving in that direction, right? So if you're hanging, like before you were hanging, right? So if I do this and you take me over, I have to go over. You see? So you can still use that sweep.
Even if you have that base hand.
Yeah, so it won't matter because you drive so hard onto the, and the space is there for me to roll.
Yeah.
So you're forcing me to take the roll.
It's your best option there.
I mean, otherwise, in fact, it's probably the best option because if I don't take it, you're gonna guillotine me, you're gonna triangle me, you're gonna omoplata me. So, and this happens usually pretty fast. So the person's here, they're not going this way. You just take them hard, and you even get that hook in there, but you don't even. A lot of times you don't need the hook.
Yeah.
And so then.
One thing that I had personal trouble with was like finding the sweet spot with my Gable grip, because there are ways that you can Gable grip that look correct, but they're not. They just feel off. So I would recommend trying to come up high on the shoulder. Make sure that this elbow is past your arm. If we're kind of out here, he's going to be able to slip it, right? So just like the Kimura, our goal is going to be to focus on elbow control and keeping it kind of past our arms. Or like leg locks, right? You want to have the knee past have the leg past the knee line, right? Got to keep his elbow down there in order for this to work, right? So, and then once we get this Gable grip, right, I just want to connect it to my body and start using my core muscles and my legs to move them around and do stuff.
Yeah, this is not your arms anymore. Your arms are locked.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Yeah, because the guys are going to do that.
Yeah.
So you should. Good drills for this are you can do it from here, right? Somebody's here on hands on the knees. You grab it, and then you should ask your partner, like, can you get your arm out? Right, go back, so you can come here, yeah, so you can come over the top, right, you can grab here, oh, tricky.
This is the weird one.
Yeah, so you should have.
Because if you're doing that and I try and just grab here, then I'll slide down. And here, it kind of works if I get under this elbow. So you gotta be like super hot with this one until you can get.
And then it'll slide down, so what happens is from here, you might control it in, right? To keep it, right? And then try to pull it in and take that. So don't be overly hasty. If you want him to grab your head, right? So if I'm just doing this, you're not going to get underneath it. It's going to be hard. But if you pull, see right there, I put my hand on the ground. So if you confirm the grip or lock that grip in, yeah, and then you just sit back. I'll put my hand down, and now, yes, that's where you got it. You can arm lock me right there. So it's another thing of another idea of how to set things up is to like make the person put their hands on the ground. If you could make the person put the hands on the ground.
So like if I'm coming.
Yes,
there.
and then I go here. There it is. But look, I'm also up for my legs. So if you wanted to take my leg now, yes. So look at what Kevin's doing. This is a can opener, so this is totally illegal, right? But totally illegal. So the idea here is you guys don't know. This is actually a great technique if for a fight or MMA or, GSP uses this a lot. It's a neck crank, right? But if he gets it really tight, it becomes really hard for me. This will tap you. I have to tell you, there used to be a guy when I first started Kansas who was probably like 230. and I was like a blue belt. It was probably like 170, 160, and he would pass my guard every time like this. And because I was like, oh, this isn't a finish, I would sit here and my neck would be sore for like a week, right? Don't be that person, don't be me, right? When you're here, if you feel somebody, you have to onto the chin, right away. And then he's not being nice to you, so you don't be nice to him, right? Like he's not trying to be your friend if they do this. So we're here whenever, yeah, I mean, you want to do this, like I always try to keep that center position, right? So if I feel anybody, you should always be here anyway, like hand fighting, keeping your kind of the middle, the center line, unless you want to grab, like you want to get an overhook or something like that, you shouldn't be giving people a direct line to your head, right? But even if you do, even if they get in, you want to come up underneath really quick, okay? So this is just like a good, and then if they keep going, right?